On behalf of the Transportation Trades Department, AFL-CIO, and our 33 affiliated unions, I want to thank you, Chair Norton, Ranking Member Davis, Chairman DeFazio, members of this subcommittee, for inviting me to participate in today's discussion. First, I would like to submit a copy of TTD's report released this morning, which urges lawmakers to hold this industry, the ride-hailing industry, accountable. My testimony today will be a summary of that report. Over the past 10 years, companies like Uber, Lyft, and Via have unquestionably grown in popularity and have radically transformed expectations for mobility and employment. As the title of this hearing suggests, they have also presented us with some new opportunities, but enormous challenges as well. As the future of this industry is debated, we cannot ignore the facts. The very feature that drives the explosive growth and popularity of the ride-hailing industry, relatively affordable and convenient service, is based on a business model that exploits workers and undermines the goals of public transportation. Meanwhile, this has been a losing equation for the industry itself. Uber and Lyft's public filings reveal that they are bleeding cash and are now desperate to find a path to profitability in other markets, including seeking financial partnerships with public transportation agencies. While we welcome opportunities to work with any partners who are advocating for innovation in public transportation, we expect those partners to subscribe to the promise of public transit. It must be equitable and accessible to all, affordable, safe, and reliable. Most importantly, any new technology or innovation in the transportation sector must not, as a key feature of its service, depend on denying workers their fundamental rights to fair wages and benefits that collective bargaining can provide. The ride-hailing industry so far has not lived up to these expectations. First, while this industry has always seen competition with public transit as a growth strategy, it is clear that they now have a more harmful agenda. They plan to go directly after federal public transportation funding to pad their losses and help prop up their unsustainable business model. Of course, we cannot stop Wall Street investors from pouring billions into these money-losing businesses. But lawmakers in this room can ensure that these same companies are not permitted to prey on public transportation and fleece the taxpayer. Second, companies like Uber, Lyft, and Via believe that their only chance to make a profit requires the suppression of worker rights and wages. As such, they try to attract drivers with the promise of high earnings, but slash take-home pay once a strong market foothold is established. Many drivers, as has been noted, make less than the minimum wage in the city that they are operating in, with some making as little as $3.75 an hour after expenses. By way of contrast, due to high union density and smart labor policies linked to federal transit funding, the average hourly wage for a bus driver is nearly $20 and as high as $40 in some cities. Third, while the federal government has invested billions into improving outcomes for congestion and air quality, the ride-hailing industry has added nearly 6 billion miles of driving annually in 9 of our largest cities. Even worse, between 20 and 50% of their driving time is without passengers in their vehicles. Fourth, unlike public transportation, ride-hailing platforms are not and never were intended to serve all users equally. In Chicago, for example, one-way trips on Lyft and Uber averaged about $15 more than the same trip on transit. Finally, we have serious concerns about the safety for drivers and passengers on these platforms. Stories like Sammy's shared this morning with us by Congressman Smith and Congressman Swazi and others are unfortunately all too common. And other shocking reports about sexual assaults, inadequate background checks, and cover-ups of wrongdoing should give policymakers pause here. Look, our goal is not to put this industry out of business. It's not to stop innovation. On the contrary, we believe that this technology can provide real benefits for Americans. We just believe that there must be accountability to the employees, to riders, and to the aims and goals of our national transportation system. Accountability that so far just isn't there. With that said, I thank you and look forward to your questions.